Just outside Moscow lies a world of immense wealth and power, the Rublyovka. To understand it, imagine the tech billionaire fortresses of Silicon Valley or the celebrity playground of Beverly Hills, all rolled into one secluded forested enclave. Here, behind the high walls that surround the villas, the global headlines of sanctions fade into silence and a different, insulated reality rules. Living in Rublyovka is almost like living in paradise, just with a golden toilet. For years, this area has been a symbol of glamour, luxury, and that over-the-top rich aesthetic, especially now when Russian MPs and oligarchs have lost their villas and yachts abroad. But is Rublyovka really that glamorous? Is it actually comfortable to live there? Are there any ordinary people or just millionaires and celebrities? I asked Russian blogger and architect Vlad Surin to show us what Rublyovka looks like through the eyes of a regular person. Vlad filmed this video for my channel, and I hope you'll give him a warm welcome and enjoy the video.
Hi, I'm Vlad Surin, architect and filmmaker. And I have something important to say, critically important. I must say it, and you can take it however you want. Even though I'll be sharing useful info, I won't hide the fact that a lot of what you'll see in this video, I'm seeing for the very first time myself. And what do you think of my ride for today? Not bad, huh? I'd even say magnificent. By the way, putting this logo onto the board was a real adventure. Took me about 2 hours and I even had to go pick it up first. Was it worth it? Well, is Rublyovka worth it? It's expensive, right? Should be. Let's check. Though honestly, who am I kidding? There's no way I could actually ride this thing there. I'm pretty sure the whole place is built for one thing only, cars.
Of course, skating all the way to Rublyovka isn't an option. You can get there by public transport, minibus, bus, or train, but we're chasing luxury and the high life today, so we're taking a car. Not the kind of car the locals are used to, but still. Rublyovo-Uspenskoye Highway starts right from Kuntsevskaya metro station.
Alright, fine, I'll admit it. I haven't seen such nice roads in Russia in ages. Proper soil reinforcement, decent landscaping around the highway. But now something weird is starting. See that second row of fences right up against the first one? Made from corrugated metal. Oh wow, 3 rows of fences. Here, even next to genuinely beautiful nature, you almost always get this, fences everywhere. And not even nice ones, just plain metal sheets. Plain solid walls, it's ridiculous. Is this supposed to be elite? So here I am in Rublyovka. And first, let me explain what it actually is. Many people imagine one huge gated village filled with palaces and the super rich. But in reality, Rublyovka refers to an area in the Moscow region along the Rublyovo-Uspenskoye highway. Basically, this slang term covers a bunch of small villages and settlements. Barvika, Zhukovka, Usovo, and a few numbered places like Gorky 2, Gorky 10, Gorky 1500, Gorky 25,000. But the village of Rublyovo, the one the highway, and the whole elite district are named after, is not actually part of Rublyovka. It's been part of Moscow for ages. Moscow just sort of swallowed it up. So today we'll take a look at a few Rublyovka villages, see how they differ, and try to feel the rich life of the elite. The rich, fenced-off life. If I didn't know anything about Rublyovka, and someone asked me what it was, I'd point at this. Western part of the Rublyovka suburbs. Once upon a time, where the Rublyovo-Uspenskoye highway runs now, there was the Tsar's Road. It connected Moscow with Zvenigorod, which from the 14th to 16th centuries was a wealthy and influential city. In the 18th century, the elite of the time, powerful counts and princes, built their estates here. But the Rublyovka we know today really began with Stalin. Right after the revolution, he made an estate in the village of Kolchuga, his summer residence. And of course, other high-ranking Bolsheviks followed. Soon they started settling in the neighboring former homes of nobles, merchants and industrialists. Dzerzhinsky and Voroshilov had summer houses here. Near the village of Zhukovka lived the head of the NKVD, Yezhov, and gradually, alongside the political elite, the Soviet intelligentsia also began spending their summers here. Scientists, writers, musicians, sanatoriums and boarding houses were built, plus a few dedicated state farms that produced food specifically for the high-ranking residents. Everything was homegrown, just on a very large scale. Back then, Rublyovka was a closed-off area. Ordinary people couldn't get in at all. Let's see what's changed. Let's try to find Stalin's old summer house. Yep, here it is. According to Stalin's daughter's memoirs, this is the estate they blew up. Unlike Mikoyan's dacha, the idea was that the Germans were supposedly approaching Moscow. Since this was the western side of Rublyovka, closest to them, they blew it up. Looks like an air conditioner and plastic windows. That's all you can see from here. It looks pretty soulless, unlike the fence. And judging by what I found online, the fence was already 100 years old back in 2011. So it's one of 14 now. If you look at the map a bit deeper and there's a house that's more grand, maybe it doesn't look as awful, but getting to it is not easy. There's just no way inside. Actually, you can't even see it. You can't see anything but a huge hill.
In 2000, the supper house became part of the Rublyovo-Uspensky health complex, where high-ranking officials like to restore their health. And since 2011, Zubelovo has been managed by the Ministry of Defense. No wonder the place looks more like a fortress than a summer house.
After the USSR collapsed, the new political elite illegally privatized the state-owned Rublyovka summer house, using all sorts of tricks. For example, they transferred them to hastily created cooperatives inside ministries and government agencies. Then the oligarchs started moving in. Berezovsky had a summer house here, as did Peter Avon, the former head of Alpha Bank. And billionaires really started snapping up land here once. Well, you can guess. Yep, once Putin got into power? By the way, there was a presidential residence here. It belonged to Russia's first president, Boris Yeltsin.
According to eyewitnesses, Russia's first president partied here loud and proud. Yeltsin left behind a whole collection of Rublyovka legends. The most famous one is about him supposedly falling off the local Uspensky Bridge.
The story goes like this. Yeltsin is in a government car with his driver, either from a friend's house or on his way to one. I honestly don't remember, and suddenly decides to take a walk. He's strolling along, minding his business, when out of nowhere, two blood-red cars screech up. A couple of big guys jump out, grab Yeltsin, throw a rice sack over his head, drag him to the Uspensky Bridge, and toss him over the side. I don't know what the water level was back then, but judging by what I'm looking at now, there's no way you could jump or fall off this bridge with a bag on your head and survive. But the legend says Yeltsin fell into the river, swam about 300 meters downstream, crawled out somewhere along the bank, and walked straight to the local police station. And then supposedly every newspaper and TV channel covered it.
Nice story, but where are the promised palaces and mansions? Let's look for luxury in the legendary Barvika.
Honestly, I'm lost. I have no idea where the legendary Barvika is, the one everyone talks about. And also, where's the pedestrian crossing? I can't figure it out. I've ended up in an old Stalin-era settlement. There's nothing here. Once again, fences everywhere, we've already covered that. Need to quickly rewrite 2 mansions in your mother-in-law's name? Easy, here you go. Anyway, I'm confused. But these old Stalin-era 2-story buildings with arches, they're actually really nice. I'd love to live in a place like that. Oh, an entrance. Let's see what Rublyovka really looks like. Looks like nobody's here, I hope. Mom, I'm a billionaire. For a townhouse, it's fine. In the 2000s, Rublyovka reached its peak glamour, and alongside the oligarchs, various celebrities began moving here. For example, the Mikhalkov family, the Bondarchuk family. Masha Rasputina, honestly, who hasn't lived here? We were kicked out. They said, "Why are you filming here?" So, because of the high demand for land, local developers began handing out all these picturesque fields and forests, this whole beautiful, interesting landscape, for building palaces with huge 3-meter or even higher fences.
Fences are everywhere here. It's practically Rublyovka's main attraction.
Here's a rule: the poorer the house, the more transparent the fence. That's usually how it goes here. It's literally tangible. You can just reach out and touch it. A relatively modest house has a transparent fence. A more expensive house, and the gaps in the fence get narrower. For some reason, they very often make these fences green. Maybe they blend in with the surroundings, with the trees, with the grass. But honestly, if they made them black, it would look better. We will see this everywhere. Some kind of supposed classic style. And fenced-off territories of, what is this, housing cooperatives? Here are 3-meter fences of summer house cooperatives, housing cooperatives, or whatever they're called. Private 3 or 4-meter fences of various institutions. How are you supposed to evaluate any of this? This one or that one? I have no idea. Wherever I try to go in, I end up at a checkpoint or running into security guards. There's nothing to see here. Everything is closed off. This whole image of fences honestly gives you a strange feeling. As if you're being dragged along a single predetermined path. It's a bit like a filtration corridor. Overhead structures made of polycarbonate. Materials straight out of the 70s. They create exactly that corridor feeling, don't they? It's already clear that I'm in an expensive area. But as I expected, I'm going to stumble upon some abandoned places. And of course, classicism, or neoclassicism. Or Renaissance, or Neo-Renaissance, whatever you want to call it. Basically, anything that has balusters, probably that. Kitsch, pretentiousness, artificial pomp. I'm just listing hashtags now, and high fences. During the mass migration of celebrities to Rublyovka, pretentious restaurants started popping up, places where they held grandiose parties. They wrote about those parties in magazines and even published books. That's when the familiar image of Rublyovka appeared. It started to be considered a place of the high society. Let's look at one of such centers of attraction, Borovika Luxury Village, where even Elton John once performed. Honestly, I can't believe it. There's also a shopping mall here.
Girls, where are you from?
It's interesting and beautiful. All the shopping centers should look like this. Honestly, I'm not even sure which of these stores are still open. I don't know, I'm even afraid to check. It's just too expensive. How am I supposed to go in there? Look at me and look at these boutiques. Valentino. Mercury. There are guards here, guards everywhere. And the people here understand architecture and urban planning. I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that they didn't just build a big empty box and call it elite. Here, at least, they made something resembling a street, with shops on both sides. So does that mean I'm whitewashing Barvika now? Looks like it, huh? Well, here we go again. They're telling me I can't film here. They just don't know who I am. Rublyovka's popularity in the 2000s affected land prices. For a long time, this district topped the rankings of the most expensive real estate in the country. 100 square meters of land right here, that's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This costs $47,000. For comparison, in the Moscow region, the same plot in 2010 didn't cost more than $3,500. 300,000 versus 1.5 million, that's the luxury markup. After the 2008 crisis, the era of Rublyovka chic gradually faded, and local settlements began to empty out. We literally just saw this. The reasons vary. Some people went broke, some got tired of the underdeveloped infrastructure and the endless rush hour traffic. Once upon a time, the wealthy sped toward Moscow. Now they mostly just sit there stuck. By the beginning of Vladimir Putin's third presidential term, every fifth cottage in Rublyovka was up for sale. But time moves on. Prices and demand change, styles change, tastes change. I'll tell you about that in a moment, but first, I have to admit, I'm thrilled. I got invited to look inside. And not just any house, but the classic example of a house in Rublyovka.
This is the breakfast table. It's natural stone, as you can see. Here is the dining area. The dining area is for when guests come. It's the formal table. Usually it's not used for everyday family life. Breakfasts, as you know, happen in the kitchen. This is more of a guest dining room. This is the study. It's a very relevant feature today, which is why almost all high-end properties now include a dedicated office. After the pandemic, we all learned to work remotely. I believe that having a spa in a large house is absolutely essential. Just like a gym. When a house doesn't have a gym or spa complex, it looks very strange. A cold water barrel for dousing, a cold water barrel for plunging, and a Turkish bath, a wonderful hammam. And this is the master bedroom. A beautiful, proper master bedroom with its own sofa bed, its own lounge area. It creates a really high-quality sense of comfort. Of course, everything here is Giorgetti, Minotti brands. High-quality furniture featuring natural materials like silk. A beautiful walk-in closet. I think it's a bit small, more suited for a man. But still, the space is large.
A house like this, that's 1,000 square meters, costs $12 million. And according to the real estate agent, cottages like this are the most in-demand product on Rublyovka. The house is completely new, no one has lived here yet, but there's no guarantee it will ever be filled with comfort or with actual residents after it's sold. After the start of the war, wealthy people began buying property in Russia and abroad simply as a way to park their money during the crisis. But not all cottages can be sold quickly, and the issue isn't even the price.
The wild 90s era, when people got their first big capital, has faded away, and today our clients are, for the most part, well-educated, cultured, intelligent people. People who have seen the world, who own property in different interesting countries and locations. These are people with good taste, which is why the kind of kitsch you saw in the 90s or early 2000s is essentially gone from the market. Unless we're talking about older properties, the ones built and sold 20-25 years ago. Those really have become morally outdated and require major investment in reconstruction and, accordingly, a totally new interior. It's hard to sell properties that are unbalanced. A small plot with a huge house, or the opposite, a large plot with a tiny house. And of course, what we're talking about is the legacy of the 2000s, terrible, absurd properties with gaudy interiors, tiny windows, bizarre facades. Naturally, all of that is no longer popular.
So that's also a determining factor, right?
Yes, the market has plenty of these old builds. This was the period when our newly wealthy class was just learning how to live well and beautifully.
There is, well, a lot of space here. I've never been on such a huge balcony. No, I'm not going to try that. I'm not trying anything. I'm not turning anything on. And this is the shower. The layout is fine, but the interior is a bit not my style. After something like this, you just want to go look at normal villages to balance out all this luxury. "14 years old, 70 kilograms, no swinging allowed." If you're a dog, you're also not allowed. So, no littering, no throwing bottles, no smoking. But this is what we're here for. And really, where did we end up? We found the local playground. This is actually important because they say the playground situation in Rublyovka, the infrastructure in general, especially children's, is not great. Maybe that's not entirely true. We did find a fairly large playground, but for some reason, no one is here. Where are all the kids? Where are the people? We haven't seen anyone today. By the way, we're in the village of Podushkino. Rumor has it that somewhere around here, some of Barvika's waste used to end up, but not ordinary waste, golden waste. I asked two people whether they know anything about that famous Podushkino dump, if you can call it that. The place where you supposedly could find expensive items. No one knows about it, but I only asked two people. They told me it's in Podushkino. Not true, is it?
We've lived here for 10 years. There's never been anything like that. There aren't dumps or pits or trash heaps. Nothing. Everyone has their own bin, and they haul everything away properly.
Okay, I understand.
But in Barvika, there is a big one, and that's where everything goes. They bring it from here to there.
Is that somewhere near the school in Barvika?
Yes. They fenced it off. It's all walled in stone. You go in and...
Oh, they fenced it off?
Yeah, they drive in there, unload everything, and so on.
Rublyovka is a place with luxurious mansions but zero infrastructure. The authorities haven't managed to make the area convenient. Here you get traffic problems, a lack of shops, poor public amenities, and garbage collection issues too. There was a Russian TV sketch show Nasha Russia about the homeless guys living at an elite Rublyovka dump.
Just look at these poor people, they've got nothing.
You're the poor one. My watch costs more than your whole bus. Anyway, I came to the village of Podushkino, but there was no dump like that. Now I've come to Barvika. And finally, I think I found it. There's a pretty heavy flow of cars here, nobody likes being filmed. But judging by the description, this seems to be the place. Two girls told me the dump was near the school. Well, there's the school over there. And yeah, it's all fenced off. Should I climb in there or what? No. That's beneath my dignity. I can't do it anymore. Okay, let's just call this the Rublyovka dump. Technically, it is on Rublyovka, just not guaranteed to be the one. Thank you, dear Rublyovka residents. You pack everything neatly in sturdy black bags. Thankfully, I didn't fall through anything. On the other hand, what was I expecting? No columns, no capitals, nothing like in Nasha Russia. There's nothing architectural here. Just the same corrugated metal sheets, the same ones beloved all across Russia. But here it's like they've found a new life. The golden times seem to be gone. You can't pick up a TV at the dump anymore. You won't find an iPhone. Simply because, well, this dump basically doesn't even exist anymore. There are just some containers in one spot. And I guess bloggers, YouTubers come here to shoot treasure hunt content, but I'm not sure. We just checked, and it looks like there are absolutely no treasures here at all. Maybe we're just coming at the wrong time? Maybe it's the wrong moment? In general, these places really are wonderful. And not just here. These areas have been severely spoiled, especially over the last, I'd say, 30 years, and quite drastically. These spots are like isolated points on the map. You have to actually come here and walk around to appreciate them. But to get to them, you have to deal with a certain journey. And that journey is just the usual depressing urban infrastructure. It all looks very bleak. Of course, not all of Rublyovka is a village with mansions and palaces. For example, I just arrived in the settlement of Gorky 10. And it's far from the stereotypical Rublyovka pomp and luxury. Aside from the holiday homes, there used to be a horse breeding farm here. Simple workers lived near that enterprise, so along with cottages, ordinary apartment buildings went up too. The kind you can find anywhere else in the Moscow region. Housing prices here aren't Rublyovka level either. You can find two-room apartments for $97,000. And for comparison, for the same money, you can get a two-room flat in other towns around Moscow. So yes, calling Gorky 10 part of Rublyovka is a stretch. Local residents themselves don't call it that. They say this isn't Rublyovka. Ordinary people live here, they say. For some, Rublyovka begins and ends where the rich people live. And where the rich don't live, that's no longer Rublyovka.
Why did I come here? First, the environment. It's better than closer to Moscow. Second, there's a forest nearby. You can go for walks with your kid. There's a river. That's why I moved here, to feel like a suburban resident while still living in an apartment. So in that sense, the real estate prices here, I wouldn't call them Rublyovka prices. Not here specifically. They're actually quite affordable.
In places like this, the contrast of Rublyovka is especially visible. The farther you get from Barvika, the simpler the housing and the warmer the people.
Do you want a drink?
Honestly, I suddenly want a drink, but no thanks. There'll be more for you.
I'll find some more.
No, you don't need to. You can have the full thing. Thank you for the offer, though. Really, now I kind of want it. The playgrounds in Gorky 10 are fine. All colorful and patriotic. I'm being sarcastic, by the way. You get what I mean by fine, right? Well, looks like the urban critique segment has officially started on the channel. Now we're heading toward the Tsar Arch. I absolutely have to show it to you. And what is this? So it's a bike lane, apparently. Just like Sobyanin decreed bike lanes should only exist in parks. And here, that rule is technically followed. Friends, I'm trying to understand the layout of this track, but I just don't get it. It seems that in this park, you can only ride a bike in one direction. Around in a circle, and only then does the path reconnect. There's no other possible configuration. Just one way only. And so kids, or maybe adults, ride around in circles. These are weird little loops, but honestly, I don't even want to make fun of them. Because when I was little, these loops gave me a lot of joy. I loved them. For me, they were always something, not exactly an adventure, but my imagination worked in such a way that I'd come up with all sorts of things you could do with these loops. They were like tracks for something playful. Still, I don't know. There's a feeling that something here is just off. Here are funny orange ventilation pipes with little caps on top. There's underground parking here.
Maybe Rublyovka used to be a fun place with loud parties. Now it gives the sad impression of a place where life has drained away, or maybe all the fun and all the happy people are just hidden far behind the high fences.
You see, people usually settle near each other to have some sort of connection. I don't see any connection here anywhere. Okay, fine, sometimes people live alone, to enjoy the forest, the fields, the scenery, whatever. But here there's neither one nor the other. People here somehow want to avoid falling between two stools, to be isolated and at the same time live together. To count yourself among the wealthy, you apparently must come to Rublyovka and sit, lie down, well, settle somewhere next to other rich people. But it's strange, you don't actually have any contact. There's no urban life here. And fine, okay, forget urban life, there's not even village life here. There's just no one around.
And now a bonus for all bloggers, TikTokers, and YouTubers.
Hold on, hold on. You get why I'm here, right? Just hit the like button.
So, have you absorbed the spirit of Russia's most luxurious place? Admit it, only the true elite can afford fences like these. Seriously though, Rublyovka was already dying before the start of the war in Ukraine, and now its condition is only getting worse. And even though millionaires keep buying houses here, it has zero impact on the area's infrastructure. Turns out the richest people in Russia don't know how to make their own district comfortable and safe, or they simply don't want to, which frankly is not surprising. The area is just the same as its residents.